Hello there, welcome back to Tabletop Sagas, and today I have got a little bit of a different video for you. We're going to be trying out our first game of Hail Caesar, first battle report here on the channel. So let's dive right in. I'll show you this board, what we're going to be playing, and roll into setup as soon as we can. So for the table, starting from the right as you see it, we've got a hill over here. It's not 100% clear, but roughly where those trees are, there is a hill. Up in the top corner, we've got a little bit of a wood. We've got a road coming down and crossing over a river. The river, it will be fordable where you see the road cross it, so no movement penalties there. The river is crossable, but you will have to spend in order to move onto the river and then in order to move off the river. So it's a little bit of a speed bump. And then coming further over, we've got some fields around a sort of T-junction here. And, oh, just for record, the fields are surrounded by hedges, as you can see. The fields themselves, they don't offer any bonuses. However, if you are sat on the actual hedge, I am going to count that as a defended location, so you will get some bonuses to your armor saves. Coming around then to the left-hand side, and over in the far left corner, we've got another hill, and then down here in the bottom right, we have another forest. The small trees that are dotted around, they don't do anything. They are entirely just to make the place look nice, as is the clump foliage that's scattered around. The road itself, I am going to use the rules of getting a free move if you are in column on a road, and then, like I mentioned, it does negate crossing the river, but other than that, there's no other special bonuses for those. So, this is what the board's going to look like. The armies that we're going to be playing today are going to be the Song versus the Mongols. So it is going to be a 10mm game, 4 divisions apiece. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything rolled up in terms of who gets which side for deployment and get everything deployed. And then I'll come back and show you the armies. And there we are, we're all set up, ready to go. The Song did choose to deploy, and they chose the side which was, it was a bit easier to access some of the hedges and form a little bit of a defensive line, which I think is more than fair enough. And so the Mongols, being the attackers, had to deploy first and then would get to move first. So moving from right to left, first of all, we have the medium mixed infantry, the local militia, effectively, for the Song. These guys are medium infantry, so they're not going to do amazingly well in a fight, but they will be able to hold up. Their big advantage, though, is that all of them can also shoot. Then moving across into the centre, we have the, I'm hoping, stars of the show, but we shall see. These are the Fire Lancers. So these are going to be played as early Fire Lancers, so they are a one hit, and then they become light spearmen. But that first hit is going to be nasty, so they basically will count as, for the first time they're charged, they can use closing fire, and that closing fire will automatically cause a break test if there is even a single hit. So scary to charge into, likely to do some decent damage. I do believe, if I recall correctly from my rules as well, they also, I think, limit morale saves to 5+, because, well, it's a flamethrower that you're holding into a horse's face. Your units ain't going to like that if you're Mongols. And they are supported by some halberdiers. Those are basically just medium infantry, spears, nothing special about them. Act as a little bit of support for the very squishy Fire Lancers. Moving over to the next division, we have a division. This is the Imperial Army Division. So these are a little bit better and a little bit scarier. So in the front, we've got some medium crossbowmen. They're going to be able to do a lot of shots, and again, they will limit morale saves to 5+ because, well, they're crossbows, They are designed to deal with cavalry. Supporting them are also some heavy spearmen. These spearmen don't have shields, so they don't have the cover saves, but they do also have crossbows themselves as well, although not as powerful ones, so they don't cap saves, but if they did get the opportunity to, they can do closing fire, and they can also shoot as well. So I'm hoping that that division should have quite a lot of staying power. And then on their far right flank over here, we've got the cavalry contingent. So we have 3 units of just base heavy cavalry and then 1 small unit of light javeliners. So not overly massively impressive, the cavalry division, but still useful, and hopefully it's going to sweep around this side and basically roll up the side of the Mongols. So that's kind of the plan, is to have everything else here, pin them in place all the way down the line, hence why they've gone for quite a wide deployment, and then hopefully the cavalry should be able to swing forward and around. So in terms of commanders, you've got basic commander for the cavalry, basic commander for the main fire lancers, and then basic commander for the militia. So that's an 8 in a command value and 2 in attack. And then sitting here with the crossbows and the heavy spearmen is the army's general. So he is going to be 9 command and 2 attack. So not amazing, but hopefully a little bit more reliable. And switching over to the other side, we've got the Mongols. So the Mongols have gone for, if I can zoom out enough to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, they have gone for a little bit of a denser formation just by simple virtue of a lot of their units are small, so there's not really, they can't beat the Song in terms of frontage, but they are hoping that they should be able to put a lot of arrows in, weaken up spots, and then smash through. So we will, for these, rather than starting on the right, we will start on the left. And here, just behind the hill, we have 2 units of, or 2 divisions, I should say, of Mongols. These are standard size units for how I'm playing them. So it's 3 small units of horse archers with Parthian shot, and then 2 units of heavy cavalry with lancers. And then moving over to the centre, we've got the Khan himself's division. So these are the more elite. So specifically, we have got 2 units of Keshik along with 2 units of horse archers. So the Keshik, these guys are elite. They are heavy cavalry and they have lancers. And then the 2 horse archers are still horse archers, but also have marksmen as well as Parthian shot. So they are really quite an experienced division. And then finally, on the Mongols' far left flank, we have another standard unit of Mongols, 3 horse archers, and some lancers. Oh, and in case it wasn't obvious, commander is 8 and 2. Commanders over here are 8 and 2. And then the commander in the centre, representing the Khan himself, is 9 and 2. There we have it. That is deployment all sorted. As I mentioned, the Mongols are going to be taking the first turn, so I will get them all moved. I'm not going to sit here and talk you through the exact movement. We're just going to do a bit of a time lapse, and then I'll come back in. an absolutely amazing start to the first turn. I started off with a failed roll to try and move the left flank forward. They used the general's reroll and they proceeded to blunder, moving to the left. I then came to this side, ordered the other flank to skirt around the hill as much as it could. They managed to get one move off there. And then the other division, I ordered them to also move forward, and they blundered, drifted to the left as well. And then at that point, I decided that, you know what, the Khan ain't moving forward until his army's going with him. And so he just decided to pass on his go. So they've started to flank that way. Apparently these guys are flanking this way, and the centre has not moved at all, which means nobody is in range for shooting. And that is the Mongols' turn one done. And with turn one done, as should perhaps not be surprising, the Song have had a lot better turn than the Mongols did. So let's work through from most moved to least. So starting down here, the cavalry has absolutely barreled forward, is now beginning to threaten the far left flank of the Mongols, and also is potentially in range of having to deal with the Keshig as well. Then moving to attempt to take some of the hedges and getting a couple of moves off is the Imperial Division, so the crossbows and the heavy spearmen. Only getting one move off is the fire lancers, so they didn't quite get in a position. They wanted to try and get up to this hedge here and secure it ready for the Keshik. Try and get 3 divisions in against 2 down here. And then finally over here, the militia actually managed to roll a double one and get as many orders as they wanted, basically. And all they really wanted to do was form up along the line of the hedges / walls and get ready for the charge. So they've spread out. They're going to get their maximum firepower for anybody coming in against them. So the Song are in really good position on their left flank. Their right flank has charged forward very unexpectedly, and they're really, provided they can get their central divisions up, they are in a really nice position. However, if they can't, then those cavalry are pretty exposed. I have done measuring and everything is out of range. The crossbows there in the center are just about 19 inches from the front of those Keshiks, so kind of the worst position for them to be in, but that's where we're at the minute. So it's now going to be on to turn 2, and we're going to see if the Mongols can respond to a very aggressive first turn by the Song. Well, that was definitely a better but still quite mixed turn for the Mongols. They have managed to do some really good things and some really bad things. So, starting off with first unit rolled an 11 and have decided to continue to just sit here chilling out by the forest. And then coming over to the other side, I rolled a 10, I believe it was, for these guys, and so they have once again stood just chilling just round the back of the hill. Then moving on to this unit, they managed to get a move off, so they have moved forward, but the big movement has been the Keshik and the Khan here in the center. So the first unit that moved got it was an 8 or a 9 and only got one move off. I was trying to get them to charge into those javelins, and I decided not to push my luck, didn't use the general's reroll, and then the second unit did manage to get a charge off. Those javelin guys did, because they were going into the flank, manage to turn to face them. However, they didn't manage to then do any standing and shooting or counter charging. So that was pretty good. I managed to get a unit of the Mongol horse archers in to support, and then I've put another unit here in the side. This is probably going to be a sacrificial unit because now these have to react to that unit if these are not wiped out and they aren't charged in their flank, of course, that is. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's move on to doing some shooting next. So looking at this side of the battlefield, first, I think this is the one that's going to be the most interesting or pleasant for the Mongols. These guys, 18-inch range. They are, however, out of short range. Yep, definitely just out of short range, definitely out of short range. So that means that there's going to be, this is going to be the closest unit, so that's 2 shots a piece and hitting on 5. So I'm just going to roll these all together. 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 6 shots, no rerolls, no anything like that, all hitting on 5s. And that is 1, 2, 3 hits and a break test. So they are heavy cavalry, so they are saving on 4s. No saves, unfortunately. So they take 3 wounds, and I will put 2 dice next to them to remind myself that they need to do a break test. And that really is what the Mongols are kind of designed to do right there. Oh, these guys as well. They can also shoot. They do have things as well. They have 18 inches. So let's see, how far is it to this unit? It's 14. This unit is 14 as well. Let's continue to actually, no, let's not pile on. We're going to target this unit to try and weaken things down a little bit. They also have 2. They get 2 misses. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Then we've got these guys. These guys are going to have to shoot at them. They are only hitting on 4s. 2 hits, no break test. And then heavy cavalry, so 4s to save. 1 saved and 1 wound. Definitely taking a couple of, odd wound here and there. And needing to do a break test. So as all of the shooting is done over here, I think that now is the time just to do that break test. So that's a 5. That's not good. And consulting my handy quick reference chart, 5, cavalry is retreat disordered. So there is then moved back to the base of the hill and disordered on them, so they won't be moving anywhere next turn, which is great. And then that's everything on this side. And then what about this side? Okay, so I think the way I'm going to do it is, it's going to be these 2 units here are going to attack this unit, and this unit here is going to attack this unit. It is at long range, so that will be in -1s. They are hitting on 5s. I think I'm going to say they are also going to be hitting on 6s because they are obscured. They have got the cover of the wall to hopefully save a couple of hits. There's nothing special about these, so I'm just going to roll them all in one go. So nice. So blues were 1 hit, blacks were another. That actually works out pretty well, because the problem is I've rolled 2 6s there, and as some of you may know, 2 6s when you need 6s to hit is a break test. So we'll say that 6 came from the right unit and that 6 came from the left unit. So 2 wounds on them. Militia are medium infantry, so they are needing 5s to save. And what you know, they saved both of them, so that was completely ineffective. And then this unit here going to attack this unit. Yep, misses, so nothing there. So there is ranged combat done. Now we are on to the actual fight over here. So these are needing 3s. So that is 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 6 hits so far onto those javelin guys. And then there are supports. Supports do give 2. These are just hitting on fours though, because they didn't charge. And okay, then 2 hits from them. So the Song fighting back have got 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. They didn't counter charge, so they don't get anything special. And they get 2 hits. No, they're hitting on fours because they don't get anything special. So they still get 4 hits, which is still respectable. It's not maybe going to be enough, but we shall see. So 4 saves on the Keshig. First of all, they are heavy cavalry, so they are saving on 4s. Oh wow, so that's 3 wounds against them. That's actually, you know, given the effectively like skirmishers, that's not terrible. They're not actually skirmishers, but you know, that's kind of the role they're designed to do. They're not really designed to do these kinds of heavy cavalry clashes, and that's what we'll see here, because they've got a save of 6 plus and 2, 4, 6, 8 wounds against them. Can they save any of them? They can save 2 of them. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 wounds is enough to take them over their limit. So they are shaken, and they did lose combat by 3. So they will be rolling their check at -3. And that's 9, which hand-to-hand combat, 9 -3, so that's 6 for cavalry. Give ground disordered together with supports. This is where they're going to stay, and we'll see how this goes. You can tell me down in the comments whether that's a good idea or not. But yeah, now onto the Song turn 2, see what response they can make. So I know that I said I was going to skip through movement, but something disastrous has just happened that required me to take the camera and explain. So these cavalry here had decided to charge the archers who were here, and then if they evaded, charge through and connect into them. They are 9 inches away, so it's really not too difficult for them to have done that. They did get order off with enough range. However, obviously the horse archers declared a Parthian shot, took 2 shots from there, closing fire -1, so 5s to hit. Managed to get managed to roll a 6, caused a wound on them, caused a break test, and look what I rolled. Double 1. And double 1 is cavalry. Break the unit if it suffered any casualties, otherwise retreat disordered. And they did suffer a casualty. So this unit here is gone. And because they have broke, the unit that was supposed to be following them is also going to have to do a break test. Getting a 7. 7 cavalry is retreat in good order. So they're okay, but that's seriously scuppered their plans. Okay then, so after all of that on that side, bit more of a mixed bag again, really. So without really much else to do, the commander of that division's moved back to that disordered unit and has just rallied them, taken a wound off. I will also now get rid of that disordered because that's not going to come into play anymore. So next, the Fire Lancers got 3 orders off. The idea was move forward, and then once you're in, I can never remember what the rule is. It's once you're within 12 inches of another unit for the enemy, you have to move in relation to them, a proximity rule. So they got within 12 inches with 2 moves. They actually, because they got 3 moves off, they then got to make a move towards them. So they are very much threatening the flank/rear of the Khan's division. So that's a little bit worrying. And then the crossbow/spearmen, the Imperial division, have taken up position by the hedge. And then over here, I did consider moving these forward, but then checking ranges, the militia are all within 18 inches of this division here. So they're just going to open fire on them. Like, really all that they can do. So that's 6 attacks on each. These are in open order, so -1, over 12, so extreme range, so also -1. So they're needing 6s, so I will need to roll these. Actually, no, I won't. I'll do 1 unit blue, 1 unit black. So let's pop this in here. And so that's 1 hit on the first unit. And then next 2, getting 1 hit on them. Blue dice for this. Nope. Blue dice for this. Nope. Okay. So both units take a wound. Moving on to the centre. Safe to say, both units are going to be into the Keshik. Normal range, so no minuses. They're closed cavalry units, so again, no minuses. So they're just hitting on 4s. Nothing out of the ordinary here, so I'm just going to roll these as is. Oh. Yeah. Right, so that's 3. Let's just move those out of the way. 2, 3, 4, 5. Final one. No, is a miss. So that's 3 hits and needing to do a break test. So let's pop those next to them. So 3 saves, 4+, saved all of them. So they don't take any wounds, but importantly, they do have to do a break test. And they get a 10, which I'm suspecting 10 cavalry, hold your ground without penalty. So absolutely no effect. And then, let's just have a quick check. They are shaken, but they might be able to do something. Are the javelins within 6 inches? Not quite, no. So, nothing really much happened there. There's no combat anymore, because obviously combat, which was supposed to happen, went disastrously wrong. So, there is the end of turn 2. So that's the Mongols' turn 3 movement done, and you know what, actually, it's been a lot better than I thought that it was going to be. So to start off with, we've got this side here. The front unit here moved based on initiative, because they were only 6 inches or so away from the side of these guys. Now, they were in their flank, so that means that they didn't get to countercharge, but they did get to respond by turning to face, and because they're cavalry, they don't risk suffering disorder or anything like that for doing so, which is absolutely fine. And then the Khan, who I'm going to keep back here, did manage to order the rest of his units to move into support. So that is going to be a pretty darn painful one for those. And then this unit here did move into support as well. They didn't manage to charge in, but they have still managed to form up, and they can probably take a couple of pot shots at those shaken guys and cause them to basically run. So the hope here is that if they can break these guys, this will then break this division, and then they can turn to deal with this problem. So rather than trying to deal with both problems at once, they're going to focus on their objective, and then they're going to turn to deal with the second one. This over here, the unit hanging behind the hill finally start to have a little bit of movement. They didn't manage to move completely as much as they would have liked. I wanted them to hopefully come running over and charge. They only got one move off though, so they've at least gotten over that hill. They're now in range to start opening up some volley fires. And then this unit over here failed. So, you know what? That's fine. They're going to be able to do enough. So that's where they're at the minute. So we'll move on to shooting. So first we have this division over here. I'd say that those can't shoot and those can't shoot, but the two at the front are within 13 inches of this unit. Actually, no, they're within 12 of this unit, and they're within 12. So they're going to shoot both those. So it's a 4 to hit normally, no extreme range, but they are behind cover, so it is going to be 5s. So no reason to not. We're going to just roll everything. And they only take 1. They are 5s normally because they're medium infantry. I am going to say that they do get +1 to their armour though, so they are on 4s to save, and they do. So nothing comes from that. These 3 units here, because they didn't move, actually it's the exact same as before, so it's 2 into this unit and then 1 into this unit. Again, they are outside of 12, I believe. Yes, outside of 12. So it's going to be 5s, so it's going to be 6s. So blacks and blues, 2 separate units. So that's 1 hit onto them, and then 2 hits onto those guys, no hits onto them. Then they will be 4s to save. So they save as well, so they take no wounds. And then coming onto this side, we've got both of these 2 units who are going to shoot them. So hitting on 4s. So that's 1 hit, that's 2 hits. So that is 2 hits on them, 6+ to their armour saves. 1 saved, 1 wound taken, they're 1 over, so that's -1 on their break check because they did get a 6. So that's a 10, so that's a 9. 9 for a ranged attack against cavalry is hold your ground without penalty. So they just stay there chilling out. So that is everything done for ranged combat, but we're still over on this side with this absolute mass of combat. So we're going to start off with, let's have a look at what the Song get. They don't have anything special. Heavy cavalry with spears, clash of 9. Okay, so 9 dice, hitting on 4s. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 hits, 4s. Heavy cavalry, so 4s again. And, oh, that's not good. So 1, 3, 2 3s, 3 3s, and a 4. So they take 3 wounds. These are the fronts, so these are hitting on 3s because they charged, and they are lancers, so they are -1 to the armour save. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 hits, -1 to their 4+ heavy cavalry armour, so that's 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds against them. 2 support from the side. 2 support from the side. I'll do the back ones last because they do have lancers. So these are 4s, so that's 3 hits. So 3 needing 4s, saved all of them. And then we've got, I believe it is a support of 3 for the Lancers. Which it is indeed. They are a support of 3. So 3s, needing 4s, 1 hit at a -1. So 5s, so saved there. So my guys take 3, which I believe Mongol Heavy Cavalry, yep, stamina of 6, so they are now shaken, and 4 on them, so they are actually not shaken. So they are, however, doing a check at -1. So that's an 8. So -1 is 7. Give ground disordered together with supports. Right, so that's where we're at. Combat didn't go as well for the Mongols as they were hoping, but the Mongols are in a pretty good place in this spot. They've managed to move away from the threat here, and if we can break them here and these here before the crossbows and the fire lancers can bring to bear, the Mongols are actually in a pretty good position here as we're going into the bottom of turn 3. So once again, the Song have had quite a mixed bag. So over here on their left flank, militia, they're really liking that wall, so they have not changed at all. Coming down to the centre, I'll come back to that, because over here first. Now, the cavalry did charge into the flank of the Keshik based on a initiative move, so just got straight in there to hopefully help stem that tide over there. Then the Fire Lancers division did a charge move against the Lancers over here and got 3 moves off. So I wasn't expecting them to. I was expecting them to just move forward to threaten them. But they countercharged without the help of their guys, which was probably not a great idea. Automatically disordered the unit coming in. However, the unit coming in has got 2 units, 1 on either side, so we'll see how this goes. We've got this unit going into this side, needing 5s because they are within 12, so that's 1 hit, and potential wound and a break test. And then we've got next unit over, going into these guys, needing 6s this time, so nothing there. And then 2 units here, both going into this. So these are needing 6s. So, and that's 2 wounds and a double 6. So that'll be a break test for them. This one over here, do they save on a 6+? No, they do not. So they take a wound. And then let's get the break test out of the way. Oh, getting a 4. Ranged for cavalry break if shaken, otherwise retreat disordered. So they make a move back. And then 2 attacks on these guys. Saving 1, but taking 1. And a break test for them. Getting a 7. Retreating good order. So they make 12-inch move back. So at the end of shooting, we've got these guys all the way back here, but not disordered. And these guys back once again behind that hill, this time very much disordered. So breaking up those divisions as they are coming in and really holding them very nicely. But onto the side that is far more interesting. So first of all, let's do this big combat here. 6 attacks going in. They are disordered and they don't count as charging, so 5s. Getting 2 hits against them. And then we've got 3, 3, and 3. So nothing about these, however, so that's 9. Needing 4s. Oh, not a brilliant roll. Would have hoped for 1 or 2 more, but there is another 3. So that's 5 wounds onto these guys. Well, 5 hits onto them. Needing 4s to save. Oh, not good. So that's 3 wounds. And then we've got 9 attacks coming in. -1 to the armor save. So that means they get no armor save whatsoever because they are only normally light anyway. And because they charge, they're hitting on 3s. 5 wounds back onto them. That's not great. So that does mean that the Song have lost. They were really hoping that sheer weight of numbers here could force them to do it. But not quite so lucky. So, -2. What do they get? So they get a 6. 6 is infantry, give ground in good order together with support. So everybody moves back 6 inches. So that's them moved back. So let's, final combat. Oh no, there's 2 combats here, isn't there? So let's start with these against these. Mongol horse clash of 4. 4 hits against them. So that's with no saves. So that's 4 wounds on them. So they are going to be shattered, that no matter what, they are done for. And then, however, their response backwards, hitting on 4s, getting 1, and they don't save it. So those Mongols are going to take 1 wound. Well, we're not even going to roll because that's double their stamina. Therefore, they are automatically shattered. And it does mean that if this unit here ever does finish this combat, they are going to start to run away. Let's keep this going. So this combat, this is a continuation, this bit. Their support from behind from the Lancers is 3, and their support from the side, oh wait, no, normally is 6. But, well, put it here, so I'm working out. Normally 6, but because they have somebody on the side, you halve their attacks. And they were winning, so they're on +3, but again, they have somebody in their flank, so these are hitting on 4s. They are going to just continue to go forward, so none of them actually hit. The sides, 1, have nobody in their flanks and all that, so they're still supporting, so they're hitting on 3, so that's 3 for the Lancers behind, 2 for the guys that are in support to the side. Oh, wow. 2 hits against them. So 2 hits on a 4+. Save 1, take 1. So these guys here, so they're doing 6 for the cavalry. So we'll do this disordered cavalry. So 5s to hit. So that's, oh, God, okay. So that's 3 hits on the Keshik. Getting 1 save, so that's 2 wounds on them. We'll just put that to the side for the minute. And then they've got another unit that charged in, so that's 9 hits for the clash. And because they charged, +1 to their hit, so hitting on 3s. And that's a very respectable amount. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds. So that's 8. Which means that is enough to shatter them, taking that wound off, and then 2, which means that 1 wound gets passed off onto these, and 1 wound gets passed off onto these. The General's division is now running. That's a problem, but equally, that means they're no longer in combat, so they are also now running. Oh wait, are they? No, they're not. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. The Mongols are not running. Oh wait, because they broke in combat, these 2 both need to do morale check or a break test as well. So, still a chance. Let's roll for the skirmishers. 8, hand-to-hand, cavalry, give ground in good order. So, give ground, we're going to pull them back to here. And then these guys, this is becoming a little bit messy, but 5. Okay, 5 cavalry. Break if shaken, otherwise give ground together with supports all disordered. I think there's a lot to do, but that's the bottom of turn 3. The Song have done a strong response to them. Oh wait. No, these guys are done. Yeah, let's move those out of the way so we can see that a little bit easier. Yeah. It's going to be interesting now for the Mongols. So on to turn 4. So we're going to start off here on the Mongols' left flank, where I made a little bit of a mistake. We formed them all up to basically try and deal with these guys before then realizing that this is part of the cavalry division that's broken. So that's not really a problem anyway. So yeah, not great there. However, the next, the sort of the furthest wing unit here managed to bring in all of the house archers to act as supports to this guy who's managed to hold off all the infantry here. So hopefully dealing with them there. And then swinging right over to this side here, we have finally started to get everything back in a little bit of order. Had an amazing, just pull them forward a move, and then really good one to get these guys who are all the way back here charging all the way. And so, yeah, they're back in the fight. They're lined up on that side. These guys down here, it's still disordered, but this guy is in the middle. He's within a foot of the main body and also the guy at the back, so he can order them forward and he can hopefully bring him in as well. So we are going to start on the right flank over here to do a little bit of shooting. 2 dice for these of blue, 2 dice for them of the lancers, so that's 5. That's black ones for those even. So it's, what is the range? I know I've just measured it, but yeah, well inside of 12 inches, so it's 4s to hit. They're behind cover, so 5s to hit. And that is 1 hit on those. They are normally 5s because they are but 4s, they save it. And then these guys, that's 2 hits against the next unit. And that is 2 3s, so that's a miss. And then these are against this unit. 5s, 2 hits, but no break tests. Again, 4s to save, so that is finally putting a wound onto those militia. And then we also need to do 4 hits on these ones as well. Again, 5s to hits, that's 2 hits, and that is a break test. So 2 needing 4s, so maybe a wound here. 2 wounds there. And let's see what happens for the break test. So that is a 7. So, ranged infantry, 7, hold your ground without penalty. And onto this side. Now, for this bit, we could do the shots against them, but given that they need to run anyway, not really a massive point, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Although I am going to have a bit of a look at this. So, we've got our guys who have, they did, I believe, they won, they charged. Well, they didn't charge, but they kept up pressure. So that's 5 hits because of sustained hitting on 3s. So, nice. 4 wounds against them. Let's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's pop that there for the minute. And then we've got 2, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hitting on 4s because they just moved into support. They aren't. I don't think they're winning. So, well, they aren't winning this turn. The way I would play it is they will count as winning from next turn if they do win, which seems very likely given that they've just gotten 2 more wounds. So that is 6 wounds against these guys. So 3, 4, 6. Let's do it here. And that is a grand total of nothing saved. So they've got 6 sustained for the main unit. They are disordered, so they are at a -1. So they're going to be hitting on 5s, getting 3, which is respectable. So that is 2, 3. And then they have got support of 2, 4, and 6. These ones aren't disordered, so these guys are hitting on 4s. 6, yep, which is the right number of dice. So they get 3 as well. So that is 6 against them. They failed 3 because they are at max wounds. So the Song lost by 3. So let's roll, see what happens to them. 3, so that is 6. So, okay, 6 minus 3 is, 9 minus 3 is 6. So infantry give ground, good order with supports. Really, really wanting to crumble, but by some miracle, this unit over here is managing to survive. And I think we're going to keep the pressure on them. We're going to have to. So they come in, they come in, they come in, and they come in. However, our guys are also now shaken. They're keeping the fight going. They're pushing them back. But they are definitely also starting to feel the problems of just sustained combat, really. So that's where we're at. It's actually been, not terrible for the Mongols. They're holding their ground. They're managing to turn the tide. They are now a division up, but it is now the turn of the Song. There's a lot to do here. Let's see if they can do it. So at the bottom of turn 4, there was really actually in the end not an awful lot for the Song to do. I decided over here to basically not, there's a chance I might not make a charge. And if I did, they would just counter charge. So charging is really not an option. I could move back, but I'm already in a good defensive position. And I should probably say the Song are already in a good defensive position. They're going to get some shots off and they're going to get closing fire. Those militia are in the best possible place that they can be to cause some havoc among the Mongols. Here, middle division, already in combat. Nothing we can do there. So the only really one... Oh, actually, there is something they can do there. This guy is going to join the combat. And I believe what you can rally from combat. I'm going to say you can. So he joins the combat. He's joining this front unit. He gets nothing. He's close enough to get the general's reroll. So, 7 general rerolls. So, they're going to take a wound off them. They're no longer shaken. Makes absolutely no difference because they are already disordered. So, you get a -1 to combat because you are shaken or disordered, not 1 for each. So it's pretty much irrelevant. It just gives them an extra wound. And then the only real thing that they've done is spearmen and the crossbowmen have all lined up, ready to take a shot. So that's where we're at. We'll go straight into shooting. Well, we've got 4 units here. all of which are capable of shooting. So let's do just that. So we get 2 dice per unit of these guys. And then we've got 6 for the crossbows. Now the crossbows, I did say wrong earlier on. I thought they capped at 5. However, they don't. Those are European crossbows. Chinese crossbows are no cap on the morale save. However, you do get to use them for closing fire. So it's 10 dice. We're just going to roll it all as, because it's all within 12 inches, all against a formed up unit. So it's 4s to hit. Even 1/6 will cause a break test. And there it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is exactly statistical, and a break test, which is exactly statistical. So 5 attacks, 4 plus to save, which is less than, so 1 wound. So they've taken 2, and then they need to do a break test. We've got a chance here. Ooh, maybe not. That's a 7. So 7 on a ranged attack is cavalry retreat in good order. Gonna go over to here. And things have not really changed very much. So it's 5s. Nope. This next unit, which will be against them, 4s. That is 1 hit. They save. So it's 1, 2. Next unit against these. Miss, because open order. Final unit against them. All misses. So absolutely nothing happened. Brilliant. Finally, over to the big fight for the centre. We'll start with the Mongols. For the support, they are hitting on 4s because they are winning. And then 5 black dice hitting on 3s because they're winning, 4s for the black dice because they are shaken. Took me a second there to work out exactly what was going on. And so 4s for these. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is 6 attacks on the on those guys. Well, they're not going to explode, so that's good. But 6 wounds is still not great. Let's find out whether we manage to save maybe even 1 or 2. Managed to save 1, so that's another 5 wounds. So these are hitting on 4s. That was weird. And so let's get rid of the fails. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hits. And then we've got 6 and 2 because the commander did have to join them. So that's 8 hits for the main unit. However, they are at 5s because they are disordered. Because disorder, normally it comes off at the end of a turn unless you are still locked in combat. It's not giving them a chance to catch their breath. But 1, 2, 3 is respectable. So 8 hits. Oh, that was not good. That was a major spike there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means it's a tight combat. Both sides took 5 wounds. Neither side had enough on them to shatter, but because it's a draw, both are shaken. Any units which are shaken when there's a draw need to take a morale test or a break test. So let's start with, I did the Mongols first, so let's start with the Mongols. They got a 10. 10 for combat, even for cavalry, I'm pretty sure. Absolutely fine. Hold your ground. No other notes. Infantry here, 8. is hold your ground, no other notes. Oh, also, just have a quick check. Yeah, commander, perfectly fine, doesn't get wounded, anything like that. It is turn 5, and I am planning to do turn 5 and then turn 6, so there is still time for things to go wrong for either side here. Either side could break, but it's top of turn 5. Let's see what the Mongols are going to do now. The Mongols definitely turning up the heat over here. As I mentioned, they were in charge range for initiative, so they of course charged in. Unfortunately as well, all of the shots were a dud. This is something that I'm not too sure on, and I could have checked the rulebook, but I just wanted to keep things moving. Do feel free to let me know in the comments though if you do know the answer. I had the first unit, the one that actually gets charged. So this unit here get closing fire, and I was a bit confused. Do supporting units also get to choose to closing fire as well? Because if it was, that would be a lot scarier. I feel like it might be the case, but I'm not sure. Let me know if you know. There's the typical scrum going on over here, not a massive deal. However, the commander has decided to join the fight, and the same as what I did last turn for the song. He's joined that unit, rallied them, taken the shaken off the lancers, give them a little bit more of a chance because cavalry in protracted fights is always dangerous. And then finally over here, the Keshik did try and charge, but unfortunately, the closing fire over here was a little bit more effective, caused a wound, and caused a roll of, I can't remember exactly, but it was a retreat, disordered. So they stood their ground, they're disordered, they ain't going anywhere. So the advantage of not being in combat means that they're going to get to open fire. So I'm going to say those two units are equidistant for these guys. So these guys, and these guys. So all 3 units are going to target this first unit. And 1, 2, 3 hits on those medium crossbowmen and a break test. So 3 hits needing 5s to save. Thank God, that's all of them. However, there is a break test that's needed. So, that's a 5, 9 on range attack for infantry, hold your ground without penalty. Let's start with the Mongols, because the Mongols are who we've always been starting with. Everything is the same value now, so 5 for the front, 2 for each of the supports, and because Commander has now joined them, an extra 2. 13 dice. This should, with having saves, should be enough. Not if, however, you need this, and because it was draw, they're no longer shaken. It's just a straight 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds. Oh, and that is enough to shatter those fire lancers. Oh, wait. Just put that to the side to remember that I need to do those saves, because the fire lancers do get to respond. So they get 6. 2, 3, 6. And we know, yep, so they get 6 plus 2, because they also have a commander. However, they are hitting on 5s. But 3 hits, 6 dice, needing 4s because it was a draw, no modifiers. And 1, 2, 3. So that is 6 wounds apiece. See if any actually go through. So, let's start with the Mongols. 3 go through to the Mongols. Get 3 6s here, and the Song may hold on. No, they do not. So, they get shattered. They've absolutely lost, but the loss doesn't matter because they're shattered. Double their wounds, they take all the wounds, the unit just explodes. And that's all she wrote for them. Which does, however, mean that each of these units that are in support now also need to make a roll to see what happens to them. So, this one first, 7 for melee combat. Give ground. Together with supports, they don't exactly have supports, so 3, so give ground. This unit, back unit rolled a 2. Okay then, pretty sure that is break. Yes, it is. However, final unit got 6. 6 is give ground in good order with support. So these also get pushed back. And, unfortunately, that is a 2nd division broken. Which means that the Song are going to try and quit the field. Oh, wait. They got shattered while he was in that unit. I think he just literally is just like probably dead. Not that it matters. Well, that was unfortunate. However, we're not quite done. Because we've still got this fight over here to, you know, insult to injury almost. There's actually 2 fights that are going on over here. Do we want to fight them out? I think we do. Now, they are defended, again, you know, they are against the wall, so that's good for them. And they aren't disordered because they did stand to receive the charge. As far as I understand, the only time that cavalry charging infantry disorders them is when you are counter-charging. So there's 9 attacks in each combat from the Chinese. So that's 3, 6, 9. Let's just both combats basically at the same time. So this first one, actually no, we do need to do them separately. So first one, that's not great, but not terrible. That is 4 hits on the Mongols. The Mongols now get to give their response, shall we say. So they do 9 with 2 in support for each of their 3 units. On 3s because they charged. If I can actually get this right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. With then supports, 3 units, 2 each. And because they're supports, they don't get any bonuses. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 wounds against the Song. Needing 4s because they do have the wall to save them. Okay. So they fail 4, but they take 4. So there's that. Doesn't manage to break the unit or anything, so that's good at least. Oh, wait a second. 4s again. No, because also Lancers. So it cancels it out, so it's back up to 5s. So it still doesn't actually make a difference. And then 4 against them, they take a wound. And then we basically repeat that combat again. Was it 3 support? Well. And so we need 4s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wounds against them. And then it's all of the wounds. So it's 9 hitting on 3s. So that's what? 7. Followed by, that's 7 hits plus 1, 2, 3. So that's 10 hits. So that's a little bit of a difference, to say the least. So let's do the Mongols saves first. So 5 needing 4s. That is 3, so they take 2 wounds, the Mongols, in the end. And then we've got 10. 10 needing 5s, down to 4s because of the wall, up to 5s because of the lance. So that's 1, 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 onto them. So let's just 6 onto them. And, oh wait, no. They've already got some wounds on them. So 6 onto them. So 4 onto them. And then 4 onto the unit that's next to them, who also already have wounds on them. So they're up to 5 as well. So that's not good. And then the Mongols get 2. So -6 to the roll here. I think it's safe to say they ain't going to be around for very long. So that's 3. Infantry break if shaken, otherwise give ground. They are shaken, they have just become shaken. So that unit goes kapoop. And then, or kapoof. Next one's 7. Infantry give ground in good order together with supports. At this point, because the cavalry defeated their guys, they can charge forward, they could fight another round of combat. They're done for. Let's be honest, they're done. So that's it. So that's the end of the game. I think I'm going to call it there. Over on this side, I don't think I even rolled to see what the result for those is. It's safe to say that those militia, once the 2 divisions of Mongols finally got them into combat, absolutely demolished them. To be fair, I really probably only needed 1 division to deal with them, and I really could have used that extra division over here. Well, in the end, I really didn't need it, but, you know, an extra division would have been useful. This really was where the main fight was, and I do feel like this could have gone either way. Had they managed to, those fire lancers in the charge, had a real chance of taking down those Mongols. They just didn't. And then, again, that cavalry which got driven off the side of the table, absolutely, they could have also taken down the Keshik. There was a moment there where this could have gone really, really wrong for the Khan. That would have dealt with him, and then they'd have been able to turn their attention onto the other division. It wouldn't have gone well. They'd have rolled up this side. Instead, the Mongols did manage to claw on and then turn the tide, push them back, and then regained a bit of the momentum, and then certainly regained momentum over here as well. Absolutely would have smashed through them, came down the road, and come into the back of these. At seeing this, I think it's safe to say that the militia running, the cavalry running, the centre basically being shattered, these guys would try and make a run for it. And, well, running from the Mongols, we all know how well that would go. Well then, that was an interesting fight. Yeah, I've got to admit, I've always struggled with these Mongols in the past. Normally, once the Song get into a good defensive position, it becomes really difficult for the Mongols to dislodge them. This, however, felt a lot more balanced. I think, yeah, I'm not sure whether that was dice rolls, just pure luck, or whether I'm kind of figuring them out. Not too sure. I am kind of trying to play both sides here, obviously, doing a solo game, trying to be as subjective as possible, and I do think I am, for the most part, reasonably subjective as to, you know, thinking about what's best in the moment, trying not to make a too big of a plan going forward. That way I can actually, you know, just keep it a bit more balanced, really. So yeah, that was an interesting experience, actually. Really enjoyed it. I love some of the changes that I've made. This, you know, board has been kind of getting built over the last couple of years. since I started 2-3 years ago doing War Master and 10mm stuff. So I'm really happy with how the forests are looking, and I'm not a fan of these rivers. I would like to do something to improve them. And I've got to admit, this is a new addition. Really like using gravel to make a road. It's a lot more seamless. There isn't gravel everywhere, which I honestly thought there would be. And fleece mats. So Geek Villain, I believe it's symbols on one of the corners here, but these mats, actually really like them a lot better than a neoprene mat. It'll use hills underneath them, which is really nice. It just so much more seamless, and little bits of clump foliage as well. Got me really do make a difference to make a lot more of a nice looking sort of style mat. So I'm actually really happy with how this came out. I would like to as well do a couple more of the hedgerows and things like that. And I have some buildings, but I don't have them painted, so that's why they haven't appeared in this game. But yeah, I think this went really well. This is obviously a new thing for the channel, trying to do battle reports. This is what I've been building to for the last year. If it's something that you like, let me know. If there's anything you don't like, anything I could do differently with that, if you are still by this point, watching by this point, let me know down in the comments. It would be really useful, and I'd hope that if you've stuck around this long, you do enjoy it. But let me know what you think, what I could do to do it better. I need to figure out, and I'll find this during the editing, so fingers crossed, how it's like recording and getting small 10mm figures into focus. That's something that I'm definitely worried about, something I've seen for other people, something that everyone seems to struggle with a little bit. But yeah, so thanks. As always, I'm still, as far as I know, Brett, and as I always will be, or at least as far as I know, I always will be, I should say. And actually, maybe even shouldn't say that. Who knows? So yeah. So anyway, though, thanks very much for coming along, watching. If you got to this far, if you really did, amazing. Thank you very much. Do consider hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already. I imagine you probably have if you've gotten this far. Please, helps out. It would be really appreciated. I am planning on doing more battle reports, so, if there's anything you want to see, please do feel free, let me know. Anyway, I've been Brett. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time here at Tabletop Sagas.